Hey, what's up everybody? BDL44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so here's the deal. I made a video 30 minutes long. Loved my soliloquy. Problem was I named it interpreting what Jeanie Bus tweet was. And then I realized in listening to it, I didn't interpret it right. So I had to go ahead and delete that. Oh, here's the thing. I shouldn't have deleted that. I should have named it something else because I really did like the points that I made in that video, but I made the mistake of acting too quickly in regards to deleting it. So if you happen to see it, I don't take back nothing I said. I think everything that I said pretty much aligned with what I was hoping to conclude with. It was just that when you think you're gonna, interpret someone's words, you got to make sure that what you're interpreting is actually what they said, and it wasn't in that case. And so, rather than to stay held on to that point, I wanted to come to a better one with this video and actually take the words that she actually said and quoted properly. So here's what she said. I miss KB. He would understand and explain everything that I'm not allowed to. Honestly, he was the greatest Laker ever. He understood team over self, meaning your rewards would come if you valued team goals over your own. Then everything would fall into place. All can reply. Unquote. So that is what she said. What I was holding on to was the fact that she was saying that she was, relying on Kobe to explain everything, and the word allowed or not allowed was not worked into my equation. So my thinking was she needed to step up and make the environment such so that it could be more transparency, so that she wouldn't have to rely on players to explain things to players or what have you. But when you consider the words not allowed, that also implies that some of this stuff has to do with NBA rules, implications that would put her in a position of being reprimanded or fined for certain things that are being said. So that has to be taken into equation. It's out of her control. It changes my entire soliloquy. So at this point, what I can honestly say that I took from this is that she could be talking about a lot of different people. She could be talking about LeBron James. She could also be talking about Magic Johnson. She could also be talking about, Kurt Rambis. Anybody who's ever been a player that she wants anyone to explain anything to, that could be pointed at you, straight up. Because in my mind, I was like, well, she needs to, just kind of make the environment change so that, less voices can kind of steer the ship in one direction. It was kind of taking me down a different road in terms of my point. But no, that's not what I take from these here words. What I take from these here words is that she needs help getting the word to others that things need to be done a certain way. Sacrifices are needed. Guys may have to take a pay cut. Guys may have to be traded in order for the betterment of the team. Guys may have to take less minutes, may have to take a bench role. These are things that Kobe in the past would have no problem with explaining to these players or explaining to people who, whatever, facilitating what it is that she wasn't able to say to them. In other words, sacrifice. From her seat, maybe it wouldn't be appropriate for her to say, hey, yo, why don't you just take a couple extra dollars so you can have better teammates instead of asking us to do the impossible, right? Because from her position, it's not exactly going to be received well. But if Kobe Bryant says it, maybe. Or if Magic Johnson says it, maybe. Or if LeBron James says it, you get the point. All in all, for what she cannot say, she will need someone to interpret. But for the things that can be said, she will have to say those things and make that decision. And my point in the video, if you were able to see it before I took it down, my whole point is the Lakers need to just have an environment of transparency within their organization to the point where a guy like Anthony Davis is not surprised if for some reason he's offered up in trade, because that's the nature of the game. When you have a player like KD come up, it's everybody. All of the GMs are going to be bidding against one another to get that win under their belt. So it becomes a situation where, even the organization itself sees the revenue increase in possibilities for bringing in a KD. Now, granted, if you have AD on your team, maybe you don't have that point of view, for which at least seems the Lakers do not. They're more so willing to go forward with AD. But the fact that a player like KD's on the block would make it so that it would be reasonable for someone like myself to think the Lakers would possibly lie about whether or not they'd be interested in KG. And that environment itself is difficult to maneuver through. It's best, in my opinion, for organizations to be able to have a little more transparency amongst themselves and amongst their players to let them know, hey, this is what we got going on. This is why you're getting paid a certain amount. This is why we have you on the trade block. And it doesn't necessarily start with the organizations. It starts with, how they prepare these kids going into the NBA and what they're looking into. Not just learning about the game itself, but also learning about NBA cap regulations and restrictions and various things that ultimately help them understand how best to maneuver through the league. So I talk about it all the time, and that's where this took me once again. But given what she's saying, it's more to it. It's more to it. She wants guys to sacrifice. She's speaking about everyone in the organization knowing what the sacrifice is, whatever it may be, and being willing to do so. He understood team over self. If you value the team itself, if you, just like we say, you put basketball first, as I always say, you value team goals over your own goals, and everything falls into place. She could be referring to LeBron James chasing the scoring record. I know that's where a lot of the pundits are going to take it. He's going after his scoring record. Maybe he's not willing to sacrifice this or that so that he can get his numbers. However people are going to interpret it, the point is she left it open for that too. So, it's a lot going on there. I think, this is the Lakers at the end of the day. So the timing is for me is about controversy as well. She's playing her part, doing what she needs to do to bring forth a light on the league while no playing is taking place. I think everybody's doing their part. I think Kyrie's tweets is part of that too, even though he's a personal person. I think he's also providing content for the league to promote. You know what I mean? Like this is an entire league job to kind of keep us talking about the league while there's no basketball being played. So she's doing her part. Everybody's doing their part to make sure that this thing gets done. And in that vein, I don't think it's crazy for her to trade for Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving because of it. It's the same thing I said about, maximizing the opportunity of putting the best players together and it being good for the overall league. We talk about guys getting $260 million contracts. You put KD, Kyrie, and LeBron James on the Lakers for 3 years, and then the type of revenue that could come from that, you might be seeing $350 million contracts because of that very move. And so a guy like Zion Williamson should probably want KD and LeBron James to come together. A guy like Jason Tatum should probably want KD and LeBron James to come together because that brings more money than any one team that's available right now was going to bring. It's that simple. It reflects directly on their Supermax contracts and the amount of revenue that everybody gets, even the guys on the back of the bench. Instead of getting 1.15, maybe you could up it to 2 once the revenue starts flying in that way. I mean, there is no downside at all to everybody playing their part and making sure that basketball is being spoken about in July and August. So Jeannie's definitely doing that too. Ain't no question about it. So, all in all, we miss Kobe too. Everybody misses Kobe for our own reasons, for every reason, Even if he was still walking the earth, we miss Kobe because he wouldn't be down there playing for our team, and that's what we really want. But at the end of the day, we have Bron, we have AD, and we got to value those guys. That was one of the points I was making in my video, and probably the most important point. Having LeBron James on your team is a timepiece because everything that he does is going to be remembered for all time. He's like Muhammad Ali. He's like one of those guys, GOATs, Arthur Ashe, people like that. You ain't going to forget them. You're going to pick apart everything they've ever done 50 years from now in a university class about, old time sports. One of the first names going to come up when they talk about basketball, it's going to be him. And the path he took through the league, his stats, his tweets, his school. This is the king. You're going to be having him they're going to be talking about this guy 100 years from now. And what took place in 2021, 2022, and his time with the Lakers, the almighty Lakers. You're going to talk about the Heatles, you're going to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, both stints. But they're probably going to go straight to the Lakers because the Lakers are the Lakers. Not to mention with the Lakers, so every time anyone talks about the Lakers, they're also going to reflect on LeBron's tenure with the Lakers, and then from there look at you guys in the front office and what you did during that time. I'm telling you, this is not just, it's not the same thing as what's going on in Dallas randomly, how they're handling Luka Doncic, or what's going on in Atlanta, how they're handling Trae Young. Nobody's going to remember that, no disrespect, but like that's not a timepiece. That's not something that's going to be time capsuled in time. No, what we're doing here with Laker Nation, this is, people gonna be finding this stuff 100 years from now when they Google LeBron's name. So we need to just have that in mind and understand exactly what it is that we got going on right now with this dude. And, you know, for myself, it's taken almost 4 years to understand that. It's taken 4 years to respect that and kind of zoom out and see what it is. You know, we're gonna look at Utah. They traded away Rudy Gobert for 1 million picks. They're hopeful that just one of those picks can aspire to be as great as LeBron James is on his worst day. His worst day. So we need to respect that, honor that, and try to do our very best to bring to this situation the most responsible way to play. If it means keeping him on our team and building around him properly, then that means you got to go all in with 27, 29, and anything else. But you can't give those picks away. You got to utilize them properly. Because part of doing right by him is not just being committed to going all in, it's when doing so, making calculated and good decisions. Allocating assets properly, valuing these players properly, managing personalities properly, making the right decision with Anthony Davis. Whatever that may be, making the right decision with Anthony Davis. You know, because that's where I went with it next. It was like, look, he needs to play better, all that. We've called him out, this, that, and the third. But it's on the organization to get it right. We got about 2-3 years of LeBron James. Now, if he's saying he ain't going to play with nobody other than Anthony Davis, then we're stuck with him and we're happy about it. But if you feel the way I do about Anthony Davis, you have your questions. Not about his game necessarily, because I do think he'll shoot better, but about his conditioning and where he's going to be headed in terms of whether or not he can stay healthy. You know, I don't know that we can keep him at this price with him playing an average of 50, 60 games a season. That's not enough for us and what we need him to be. So it's about making the right decision there, because that's a decision you know, we've committed to him. We got a championship out of him. We're happy that we did. But after seeing where we've been since, making the wrong decision with him is effectively punting LeBron James' tenure with the Lakers, in my opinion. And Bron is going to have to be real about that too, because he's in control of that himself. So, you know, AD's, you know, it's faith with AD. You're going to believe in him or you're not. I know he's in the gym right now. He's working. So either you're going to believe in him or you're not. But wherever you go from here with him, will probably be what the story will be for us. So that's how I look at it. I believe in Kai's game as well. Hopefully we can swing that deal. I'm thinking that's happening. He bought his house yesterday here in Los Angeles, so he's getting ready for the move. The Lakers just got to agree to the deal, and that's, of course, got to agree to the deal. But I think that's a given. But it's only so much he can do. He's going to be able to score for us. He's going to be able to control the one side of the ball, that offensive side. But we got to be effective on the defensive end. We got to be effective in helping, putting him in positions to be his best self, not having him be the last line of defense in situations. No, we got to scheme right. You know, and I think the most valuable thing we have right now, in my opinion, after watching the Summer League, is our scouts. Empower them dudes to continue to believe in them and bring in who they say bring in. Because it's working, man. I'm telling you. I love Golden State scouts. I love OKC scouts. I think these are some great scouts. But we have some high-level, top-tier guys doing that position. And I think that's our money right there. I think that's our money. Besides the king himself, our money's right there with us continuing to believe in that talent. And that is ultimately something that she was alluding to as well. You know, somewhere in this quote, team over self, you know, valuing team goals over your own. Everything falls into place. We got to make sure that team is sharp. You know, make sure the team is sharp. So that's what I like. We're going to get these kids to play their best self, even if they're role players or if they turn into superstars or whatever. I think managing them the best way forward is our best way forward. So, yeah, that's what I got to say, man. I just want to come up here and get that right, make some of the same points I had already made in the video that I deleted. But ultimately, just come up here and respect what it is she's saying, as well as try to understand it better. Try to understand it better, and try to work it into my own life. Try to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do for myself to make sure the sacrifice is right. In my life. Unfortunately for me, I'm kind of alone, and my thing is no team goal. But at the same time, you got to keep the main thing. The main thing, as Bron says, that's what it's all about. Keeping everything focused on basketball, keeping everything focused on team. Because if you focus in on the most important aspect of what you're doing, everything else falls into place. It's just like she said. So that's what it is, man. That's what I think. I think we all have to have accountability, and of course, I do want great consideration to be given to condensing some of those voices in that front office. I do believe very, very strongly that if you have too many people's opinion involved in certain situations, if you're doing vote committee by, it's one of those situations where you're moving by committee. If that's what you're doing, you're going to land on different people's point of views or directions, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, I likened it to being on a ship where you have 5 different captains and they all go in different rotations and they all want to move the ship in different directions. You end up going in a circle every time there's a shift change. You know what I mean? Because you constantly got someone getting up, he wants to go left. Change shifts, now this guy wants to go right. You know what I mean? You just find yourself, you're never actually moving in unison, because every decision you make is 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. But this guy agreed on the last move. That lady, and this guy agreed on the next move. So it's moving it's moving our ship in one direction, and then you're moving in this direction, and then you're moving in that direction. It's like, it's no actual, you're not really getting anywhere, And so that's why I think it's important that we do it that way, because basketball is so sensitive to where if you move this piece into that place, now you change everything. So if you're not going in the same direction, guess what you do every time you make a move? Change everything. So it's kind of how I see it. And I think she would be best to kind of just condense some of those names. Some of those people just don't necessarily need to have a say-so. Maybe they can input and add to the board of what it is we're looking at, like myself. But that doesn't necessarily mean at the end of the day I should be making decisions. It shouldn't fall on me. I shouldn't have a vote. You see what I'm saying? You can give me input, but I shouldn't have a vote. So that's the moral of my point. Anyway, so hopefully the Lakers can get this Kyrie deal done today. Hopefully they can be at peace with whatever they do in regards to AD, because I think that we're at a crossroads there. And I think people are scared to make the wrong decision there. I really do. I think people are afraid to trade him, which I think is, for the right price, is definitely something we should consider. Because I don't like falling on faith when I'm in a disadvantaged building. I don't like that. I like faith in life, but I like sure bets in sports. And I just don't like the odds of what it takes for him to stay healthy. I don't like the odds. Maybe he's healthy. Yeah, maybe he comes back in his best shape and I regret, not holding on to him. I think it's a reasonable bet. But it's even more reasonable to think he's going to go down. He's going to go down with a broken this or sprained that or twisted this. And we're going to be out of him. And we know it's coming. It's one of those situations like when it happens, we're going to be like, see, I don't like that. I don't like feeling like that's going to be the inevitable nature of the situation. You know what I mean? Like, I already see myself saying somewhere down the road in this season, see, we should have traded him. Like, I see myself saying that way more times than I see myself saying, thank God we kept him. And that's the problem. It can go either way. But I just don't like our odds right now. So, he's a great player, man. He's going to help you if he's out there. Trust you, me, ain't no question about it. I never want to say, oh, Anthony Davis sucks or some stupid crap. That's not true. I just got to be honest and say, if I acquired Patrick Ewing the year before he went to the Raptors, and I'm still holding on to him like he's Patrick Ewing from 1991 or whatever, I didn't screw it up. It doesn't mean he wasn't who he was. It just means that I got him too damn late, and now I'm holding on to someone that just ain't going to be who he used to be. He didn't go to the Raptors. He went to the Sonics. But you guys get the point. Orlando, whatever. The point is, if you get him too late and you think he's that guy, it doesn't matter whether you think he's that guy or not. You got him too late. And that's what I'm worried about with Anthony Davis. Are we walking into a space where he's about to just be an average kind of center, 15 and 10 every night, couple blocks, and that's supposed to be a third of our cap? No, I can't do that. I can't believe that that's what we're signing up for. Now, if he's gonna give me 30, boom. If he's gonna be Anthony Davis, 4 blocks, 3 steals, 15 boards, 35 points. Well, I'm signing up for that. That's the Anthony Davis week. That's Anthony Davis. He don't have to do that every night, but hey, we need to see a healthy dose of that. You think Shaq depraved us of 30-point games? We got them all the time. Do I think Anthony Davis has as much game as Shaq? Low key, I do. So it's up to Anthony Davis to get it right. I mean, yeah, he don't score the same way as Shaq. Shaq gets easier buckets, but Anthony Davis can do way more. Skill-wise, way more. Nobody can argue with that. He should be able to get buckets. He should be able to do all that stuff. And like I said, I always want him to work on his rebounding, man. Take pride in attacking them damn weaknesses. That's what I like to see in my GOATs. Not that I'm perfect, I'm good. Hell no, I wasn't raised on that. Kobe Bryant was working on his footwork when he was already a GOAT level player. He had 4 rings and he was calling on Akeem Olajuwon, who actually played for the Raptors. That's what I was thinking about. Telling him to help him with his footwork. Man was in his 30s. He had already accomplished enough. He was already better than everybody. The only person looking at him was a new kid, Ron. And he was working on his footwork because he knew that it was more levels to reach in his game. So I'm not one of those guys that look at Anthony Davis, see what he's done, see what he's capable of, and say, he don't have to work on his weaknesses. He's good. Hell no. Not when I was raised on Kobe. No. You got to work on your weaknesses, bro. Get better rebounding. Work on your conditioning. Change diet, whatever. And that's another thing. I've had far too many times where I've come into this camera and had to challenge Anthony Davis. What the hell is that? Like, when you sit back and you really think about it, it's like, I think I've made a challenge to Anthony Davis video probably 10 times since he's been on our team. And we're giving him how much? He's supposed to be what number who on our team? Number 2? At some point in time, you just say, you got to say, okay, this is what it is. This is what I see. Zebra changes stripes? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe if it falls in a pool of dye, possibly. But I don't think any other way is going to get it to change its stripes. It's going to be what it is. I think selling high for KD is the right move. I'm not necessarily trying to trade him for picks unless I'm changing my timeline. So it's not like I'm trading him for a bag of chips or John Collins or something like that. That's not my mindset. We're talking about trading for equal value only, with the purpose of winning now. If we can't do that, that's not what we're doing. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I have less questions about KD. The questions I have about KD is he going to want to play with Bron? Is he going to find himself unhappy? Is he going to want to leave? I don't have that problem with AD because I think AD wants to stay. And that would be why I wouldn't do it if I decided not to do it. It wouldn't be because I evaluate AD's talent over KD. I just don't think anyone does that. I don't think anyone does that but our organization right now. Everybody else would be like, get that done. Quickly. Quickly. So that's just the real, man. I'll be the bad guy. I know there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to agree with me. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be more people who do. So that's it. That's going to be it. That's just it. I'm trying to win, man. I am trying to win. And whoever's going to help me do that, I'm with you. You put on the uniform. If you the guy that's going to get us the championship, that's the guy I want the uniform. Straight up. I'm happy to be wrong. Whenever I'm wrong, I'm quick. That's what this is about. I was wrong. That's why I had to come on this camera right now. If I'm wrong now, I'll do it again. But I'll tell you the truth. I don't think I am. I think this is an inevitable situation where that dude is going to disappoint us. And when he does, we're going to be like, damn it, we could have got Kevin full-fledged Durant for him. Some mistakes you can't make twice. I'm just being real, man. Some mistakes you cannot make twice. Maybe the one I'm talking about doing is the mistake. Hindsight is 20/20. But I'll tell you this. I don't have hindsight. All I see is what's in my mind's eye. And what I see is a gasp every single time AD goes down. Every single time. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching.